Howdy, folks. I'm Mark, and today I am joined by Billie Cox. Billie, thank you for joining me for this short talk about video games.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And you listen to Quick Play, so let's get right into it. So, at long last, the Nintendo Switch 2 was revealed via a surprise, quote unquote, surprise YouTube drop on January 16th, 2025. We saw the new design of the hardware. We saw some new Joy-Cons. We saw new Mario Kart. Also, the promise of more information coming April 2nd. Part of the issue is we saw a lot of this already through just a deluge of leaks over the past few months, particularly the hardware and the Joy-Cons. Mario Kart was a surprise. No one predicted that or leaked that, which is nice. But Billie, knowing that we had all of these leaks leading up to the reveal, what's your reaction? What's your hype level on the Switch 2?
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I know we were having the quote leaks in
Yeah,
quotes, but I just don't listen to those half of the time.
sure.
For someone
Yeah.
that's always been like on social media, listening to video games and all that, like news and information, half of the time it just comes from 4chan and it's just BS.
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm not gonna listen to that. So I took note of it. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I didn't put any weight in the leaks. So
Sure. That's a wise and prudent way to live. I'm usually like that, but I bought in. I was excited. I was when there wasn't the announcement of the announcement on Wednesday. I was like, man, I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't know. And I was like just trying to eat up everything I could, but then they
Well, I
just dropped it.
dismissed it completely with the mouse thing, where it was just like, oh, I read that. I was like, there's no, that's,
Of just like, did you know about the leaks beforehand? That people were saying like, well, at least I guess it was just people pointing out, hey, there's this optical sensor in the Joy-Con. They could probably use it as a mouse. And I don't know if anyone was saying like it's going to be used as a mouse, so it was more conjecture. And then they kind of show it scurrying around like a mouse. But did you know about that ahead of time, or was that new to you?
yeah, yeah. I saw that ahead of time, and that's what
Okay.
made me dismiss the leaks because I was just like, that's too gimmicky. I feel
That's too
like,
ridiculous. Yeah, I
well,
am.
the function of it, I was just like, would they use it for Mario Maker or something like that? I'm like, I don't know. Just, that's what sold me off of the leaks. And then when I saw it in the trailer, I was like,
Uh,
oh, okay, that
sure enough, they're
they
doing
were
it.
real.
Yeah. Although it's like, to be fair, they don't actually, I mean, it's got to be this, but like they don't actually outright say you can use the Joy-Con as a mouse. They just like have them sliding around on the table with the not the tail, the wrist strap looking like a little mouse tail. So it's like obviously they're implying that, but it's like, I mean, still they could
What
have
if that's
just
still not a function? Like
that
that's
would
just how
be
the design
amazing.
is.
That yeah.
For the trailer, they were just like, yeah, just let it slide.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I think I saw a meme of someone like the Joy-Con are drifting, like it literally drifting. I was like, oh,
That was
yeah,
good.
pretty funny, pretty funny. I feel like
The
going into
over
this. Yeah, go ahead.
the overall trailer, what do you think about it? Because I'm so glad that like we didn't get like a group of friends at like the bar on the rooftop and stuff like that. And we got this
No,
whole
that's
like
tradition.
Pokemon evolution. So it's like
Yeah,
if you're not in the know, you can see obviously like, oh, okay, everything's bigger, everything's improved
yeah,
without seeing the specs.
yes. Like clearly, this is the evolution. Like this is the next step. Um, I'm trying to think through the trailer versus my thoughts on it overall. The trailer I thought was well done. I think it was. I remember when the rumors were talking about, hey, there's really not going to be a game show, and it's all going to be a hardware thing. And then we didn't get the announcement of the announcement because I was first thinking they'll just do the whole like PlayStation Pro tech spec, like 10-minute long, talking about the features and the functions, and but not actually get into games, which felt very un Nintendo like. But then though, when they didn't do the pre-announcement, I was starting to think like this might be just a 30-second teaser of like just drop the picture of it like in a black background, and that was pretty close. I mean, it was longer than that, and we did see a game being Mario Kart, but like it was more just a here it is. This is what it looks like, and that's kind of all we got of it. Um, I think with all the leaks and stuff, there was a little bit of a letdown. I think there's still. I was thinking about Spider-Man No Way Home, which spoilers for that movie. If you don't know this, that's would be ridiculous. But there's all the other Spider-Men are in it too, like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And leading up to that movie, there were just set photos of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Like we knew they were going to be in this movie, but still being in the theater when that happened, it was like, holy cow, they did it! Like no way, they got these guys back. Like that's amazing. And then the movie kind of, the more you watch it, the more you realize it's not that great of a movie, but it was still really fun. It was a great moment, a great theater moment. I didn't really get this like holy cow they actually did it sense from this trailer, because it was just like, yeah, this is the Switch 2. There might be some gimmicky stuff with it. I personally think the mouse is a great idea. Like I'm very curious how they'll use that. I hope they use it for more than 3 games, but it'd be nice to just have it as a function. That sounds nice.
I think
Yeah.
Mario Kart was the worst showcase of it all because immediately after our friend group shared the link to the video, I was like, okay, I don't know if that's a new Mario Kart. And I tagged you and I was like, Mark,
Yes.
is this a new Mario Kart?
Yeah. It is a little underwhelming, and I feel like what we have to remember too is like this was meant to just be the hardware, and like they soft launched that, hey, they're making a new Mario Kart. Like treat this like they showed a logo for Mario Kart 9. Like we know so little about this game. There have been some breakdowns that show like, oh, there's gonna be 24 racers. There's this other little shiny maybe wonder seed underneath the gas station that like could make the track go crazy. Like it could be an open world Mario Kart. Like we have no idea. Like this is not a Mario Kart showcase. We'll find out more about the game. So
I know it's not a Mario Kart showcase, but I'm always concerned about the casual consumer.
Yeah.
And
as it should be.
If Mario Kart is so samey that you could at least show a glimpse of the gimmick, that way you're like, oh, that's the new one right there.
Yeah, I do wish they showed a little more. Yeah,
a small little evolution clip, because I'm afraid I did a lot of studying. I went to school for like marketing, like advertising and all that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And the whole presentation was good besides the Mario Kart one, because I'm just like, that doesn't show. If you're just a casual fan, you're like, oh, that's maybe the DLC packs that came out.
Yeah. I don't even know. I haven't played all those. That's a good point. Yeah, like with all that, like it's all pretty, being this just the Switch 2, like it's kind of iterative. It's hard to, if you're the casual consumer, it's really hard to know what's different besides them making the 2 as big and obvious as possible in the logo to the detriment of the logo, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is a little bit weird for this Nintendo, known for being a company that's like zags all the time. Do you feel like this is too iterative? Is this too safe? What do you think?
I feel like we give Nintendo too much props sometimes for saying that they're zaggy. The Wii is zaggy, the DS is zaggy, but between the zags is just your normal run-of-the-mill stuff.
Sure.
Like the Switch is ahead of its time, but that's the route we were going. So it's not like they were zaggy. They just happened to have a leg up before everybody else on that one.
Yeah.
I would say more than anything.
That's a great point. Like Nintendo's more of a conservative company than we think, which, to be fair, they're more inclined to zag than other companies, but that's because the other companies are doing PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, I mean, Xbox zags on its name, but not really in the Xbox. I've been thinking about like you mentioned, where the DS was a zag, the Wii was a zag. Nintendo has kind of always been in this cycle with their hardware of like they will iterate on it and then they'll innovate. And I don't think they're doing this on purpose, but thinking of like the NES to the Super Nintendo, like that was home console gaming, but now more powerful, better graphics, and more functionality. And then they had to like evolve entirely new with the N64 with 3D gaming. And then the GameCube was 3D gaming with better graphics, more powerful, like more functionality. And then the Wii, which was a huge zag, and Wii U was a little more different, I guess, with the gamepad, but it's still like they tried to keep the Wii name in there. It's meant to be, this is the next Wii.
Yeah, this is the stronger Wii. So that's why I'm like, we give them a little too much credit. They zag, and then they improve. Then they zag,
Yeah. And I do feel like this is the smallest. I mean, as far as we can tell, this feels like the smallest leap. Like there's yeah, from Switch One to Switch Two is kind of the most basic, straightforward next step that they could possibly take and have taken kind of throughout their history. And I think that's fine. They'll do well. Like I don't know if they'll do it as well as the Switch One because that is because when we talk about all these other consoles that are not the Zags end up selling more than what comes after.
But I think we're in an iPhone world now. So when we went from
Yeah.
N64 to GameCube, you had to sell on that. Now that everybody's like, oh, I'm going to get a new iPhone like 1 to 3 years,
Yeah.
you're showing this, and this is the improvement. All your games from the Switch is going to the Switch 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's one of those like, your Switch is like dying over there, upgrade it. And then there's this. We live in a different marketing world. So I think the Switch 2 will be less successful, maybe sales wise, but it's going to be higher than what I think you're initially feeling anyway.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's going to be a success. Like, of course. I don't think it's going to be like a Wii U flop again. I think it's like, I don't know if, I think in 10 years from now, we will look back and we will all agree that the Switch 2 was a better console, but it will not have sold the 120 million units or whatever the Switch 1 has at this point.
The dead horse comparison, like with Tears of the Kingdom.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so they like you mentioned, they reconfirmed that they're doing backwards compatibility. You have any thoughts there? It's nice. I appreciate that. But what do you think?
Oh, I love that because everything, again, this is an iPhone world we live in, and I think they understand that. They see that. So you have to give that, or people are going to be like, oh, well, I already have this handheld machine. And Nintendo is more of the casual, family-friendly audience. So they kind of have to. It's the only step that they could have made that makes sense to give this success.
Sure. Yeah. Do you think that means we'll get a Switch 3? Will they do something else?
Oh man, that's just way too far because I can't see. We're just getting to like the pinnacle of like handheld gaming, really. So, as someone that's always played handheld over consoles,
man, I know that.
Oh yeah, dude. Mom tried really hard to give me every Nintendo system, and it was just handhelds every time.
Nice.
Like that's where I spent majority of my time on console-wise.
Nice. I've always been more of a console gamer, but then I had a child, and now it's like I just want to play games in bed, and that's where I want to be. And so now I'm a Nintendo Switch and Steam Deck guy. So here we are. And Nintendo Switch 2, apparently, eventually. Which are you at this point? Do you feel like are you sold on it, or do you need to see like we've got that next direct coming up in April 2nd? Like, are you already there day one, or do you need to see more to be sold?
Just look behind me. I'm sold instantly.
So
the good thing is, like, I shared it with my family, which they're very casual. They all recently just bought new Switches, like, for Christmas to play, like, Animal Crossing and Mario.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys, y'all should have waited a little bit. They were like, we didn't know. And I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. They're not in the same news cycle that we are.
Sure. No, yeah. I mean, and there's also like for all these people that bought a Switch 1 recently, like they're not the ones who have consumed every Nintendo game as it's come out. Like now you have just a massive library of Switch 1 games to go back to, and you'll still play them whenever you decide. Like 3 years from now, like all right, I want to Switch 2 now. So I think it's fine.
And it keeps Nintendo in a nice, safe little place to keep the Switch games on sale constantly.
Oh yeah.
Now, do you think they'll go? Do you think they'll price drop them?
Man, I was joking about this with Jake and Landry recently. Of like I was making that point of like, yeah, they can get all these Switch games for for cheap, and Landry was like, for cheap? Like, what are you talking about? It's like, I guess, yeah, when they go on sale for $40 instead of $60 every Black Friday. That's which I would imagine they'll probably have those on a more regular clip now of like Pikmin 4 is $40 for most of the year, as opposed to for just Black Friday. I'm so curious with backwards compatibility if Switch One games will have just an inherent upgrade, because that's the whole thing of like Echoes of Wisdom having these kind of choppy spots and Tears of the Kingdom having these choppy spots. Like, will that just be ironed out with more powerful hardware, or will there be more of an upgrade system like with PlayStation 5 and whatnot?
So from my Switch comparison to my child's little hacked Steam Deck,
Yeah.
it seems like the more power is better for the new Zelda game.
Interesting. Okay.
Because they didn't have any skips, but I did. So
tricky. Well, hopefully there's kind of a natural refresh and streamlining there. But I also wouldn't mind I would love for them to have like the upgrade path of just if you own the game, it's $10. I would pay that for Breath of the Wild pretty easily, and if it adds a nice little layer to it. But also, it would be nice to get it for free. It plays better naturally. That'd be awesome. Well, before we go, any other thoughts you have on the Switch 2? I have one final question for you. I want to toss your way. But,
well, you said for like upgrades, but I know with the physical stuff, like majority of the game's actually on the cartridge, so that's a lot of downloads that you'd have to do to like.
That's true.
If it's like Breath of the Wild,
yeah,
I feel like, and the Switch is so well with like games being on the cartridge and saving you space.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be. I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, I guess it could work. Like DLC works that way. Like I have Breath of the Wild on a cart. I haven't actually paid. I paid for the DLC on the Wii U version, but if I got the Wii DLC for Breath of the Wild, like that's downloaded to the Switch. It's not actually on the cart.
Yeah, that's fair.
So but yes, they are so prickly about download file sizes and everything. It would be. That feels a little trickier.
That's the only reason I see it like not happening.
Yeah, I wonder what the basic average first party Nintendo Switch 2 file size will be. Like for Nintendo Switch 1, it's like 8 gigs, 4 gigs. Breath of the Wild, something like 10, and that's Breath of the Wild. Will they go up to 12 now? Will it be a 20 gigabyte game? That'd be crazy. Be nuts. Well, our time is short, but I want you to call your shot. What day is the Switch 2 releasing?
Oh, shoot. Give me 1 second. I did not see this question ahead of time.
Well, I didn't give you the question ahead of time because I was...
Oh, you prompt me. Okay, my birthday falls on Friday, so I'm going to guess on my birthday, August 29th.
August 29th. Wow, that's a late one. I was thinking June, but then I was thinking like maybe ahead of Summer Game Fest stuff and everything there. I want to say they're releasing games on Thursdays now. I'm going with May 22nd. May 22nd.
Because they're announcing everything in March, right?
Early April 2nd.
Early April. See, that's another complaint I had about that little advertisement. How they did the dates. Write the date out.
So all the European people are like, is it February or April? We don't know.
I mean, I'm that way. I'm like, I don't know when this is.
And also April feels like, I'm glad they said it. April feels so long from now. Like I will have a second child by then. Like that's crazy. So
that's too much time. That's wild to say, oh, we're going to be radio silent for that long.
Yeah. Which apparently there are rumors of like just a normal February Nintendo Direct, probably for Switch 1 games, maybe a mini or something, but I heard that too, which, it's a rumor. Grain of salt and all that. But
we get Pokemon Day, so we'll get something maybe.
That's true. All right, Billy, let's wrap this up. But one name, one game. What are you playing?
Yo, I'm playing Dead Island 2.
Okay.
I love it.
Nice. Well, I'm playing Tales of Kenzera Zao, which is a mouthful of a name, but it's pretty good. Well, thank you once again for joining me. Billy, where else are you out on the internet?
I mostly just talk on Discord, so don't worry, I'll find you eventually.
Perfect. There you go. He comes for us all eventually. Well, thank you all for listening in. You can follow us on the major podcasting services, or you can or find us on YouTube now. Press all the good buttons there if you enjoyed the conversation, and find us on the proper socials at Quick Play Pod, and let us know what do you think of the Switch 2 reveal. But that is all the time we have for today. Thanks.